Did the United States unintentionally design a stealth aircraft in the 1940s? Did the United States miss a golden opportunity to field a stealth aircraft 35 years before the U.S. Air Force's XST program, which would ultimately result in the Lockheed F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter, was ever initiated? Did Northrop, while trying to develop a more aerodynamically efficient bomber, unknowingly stumble upon stealth? Did Northrop actually build stealth bombers in the 1940s, some 40-plus years before building the world's first operational stealth bomber, the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit? Let's examine these questions. Coming up next, on the Stealth Channel. In the 1930s, Jack Northrop, the founder of the Northrop Corporation, was fixated on the flying wing platform. He was convinced it was the next major step in aircraft design. The Northrop N1M, also known by the nickname Jeep, was one of a progression of experimental aircraft that further developed Northrop's all-wing concept. The aircraft was produced in the United States and was developed during 1939 and 1940 as a flying testbed for the purpose of proving Jack Northrop's vision of a practical flying wing. The most significant of these flying wing testbeds was the Northrop N9M. It was an approximately one-third scale, 60-foot span all-wing aircraft used for the development of the full-sized, 172-foot wingspan Northrop XB-35 long-range heavy bomber. The N9M was first flown in 1942. After successfully testing the flying wing platform, Northrop advocated a flying wing for a 1941 U.S. Army Air Force program to develop a large wing-only, long-range bomber. This would result in the Northrop XB-35 bomber. The XB-35 was a 4-engine piston-powered flying wing bomber with counter-rotating pusher props. The later YB-35 model would adapt conventional pusher props instead. However, with the end of World War II, coupled together with orders placed for the competing Convair B-36 Peacemaker, helped to seal the fate of the piston-engine XB-35. Foreseeing this possibility, Northrop received approval from the U.S. Air Force to modify 2 of the YB-35s to jet power. Redesignated the YB-49, the first of these flew on October 21, 1947, and were powered by 8 Allison J-35 engines which generated 4,000 pounds of thrust each. In 1948, YB-49 test pilot Charles Tucker was on board on flights requested by GCI radar around San Francisco. The YB-49 repeatedly made invisible passes, though the radar picked up other aircraft. However, Air Force generals chose to ignore this revolutionary breakthrough. The YB-49 program was abruptly canceled in 1949, and all examples of the bomber were scrapped. The speculation for their cancellation is manifold. The primary narrative is that they couldn't carry the huge early-generation atomic bombs as well as alleged stability issues, which had been fixed. Behind the scenes, the reasons are twofold. The first being Jack Northrop's stubborn refusal to merge with rival aircraft manufacturer Consolidated Aircraft at the behest of then Air Force Secretary Stuart Symington. Symington was a former employee of Consolidated Aircraft, which would later merge with faulty aircraft to become Convair. He was suspected of playing political games and protecting the interests of his former employer. Many believed he had the Northrop bombers scrapped out of spite. However, according to a docent at the Smithsonian Silver Hill facility, the real reason the wings were destroyed was because of the fact they found out they didn't show up on radar. We were afraid the Soviets would copy our wings, and they would have a strategic platform from which to bomb us with impunity. If we put out the word the wings weren't stable, and could not be made stable, and destroyed all of our experimental fleet, they wouldn't copy them. So, we destroyed all of the wings. 40 years later, Northrop's flying wing design would be vindicated, and its founder, Jack Northrop, would see his dream come to fruition. Shortly before his death in 1981, he was given clearance to see designs and hold a scale model of the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, the world's first operational stealth bomber, which shared many of the design features of his YB-35 and YB-49 bombers. Since then, all stealth bombers built and under development by the nations of the world have utilized the flying wing platform because of its inherent natural stealth attributes. In conclusion, it seems that a combination of the all too familiar political games played by politicians, which are designed to protect their own interests, as well as the fear that the natural stealth of flying wing platforms would be copied by the Soviet Union, for which the United States had no counter, ultimately doomed the YB-49. In our opinion, the United States missed a golden opportunity to get an additional 30-year advantage over its Soviet rivals. There is no way to prove or disprove the U.S. Air Force's fears concerning the YB-49. The fear argument in particular doesn't seem to be relevant anymore, as the United States chose to build a stealth bomber with the flying wing platform in the 1980s. They didn't seem to have any fear about it being copied by their enemies at that time. Perhaps by then they knew how to counter stealth, or were confident that their adversaries couldn't keep up with their level of stealth technology development and the subsequent countermeasures to any stealth technology their adversaries could develop. It seems that out of an abundance of caution, a technological revolution was buried for 40 years. A revolution which would have been led by the real first stealth bomber, the Northrop YB-49. Do you agree with our opinions? Let us know what you think about this in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed learning about this lesser-known chapter in the history of stealth technology. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment to help this channel grow, and thanks for watching.